All right. Man. 200,000 jobs is being cut in the banking sector in Europe. 200,000. Crazy. Oh, by the way, hello viewers. Another beautiful day, by the way. Hope your five senses work, health and strength is good or excellent. Yep. Yeah, I was just on TechCrunch. I was just on TechCrunch, and they says European banks plan to cut 200,000 jobs as AI takes hold. 200,000, man. Microsoft don't look bad, huh? Yeah. Anyway, what do we got here? Oh, we talk video games around here. You know this. So, listen to this. Elden Ring director doesn't think that Fromsoftware invented the Souls-like genre. Says here, when you think of Souls-like genre, your mind should naturally come up with one single developer, Fromsoftware. Not only is the entire genre named after its most popular series, Dark Souls, but immense popularity of its games has influenced potentially thousands of developers across the globes to make games that imitate their structure. If something is described as Souls-like, a person is more than likely trying to tell you to play like Dark Souls or one of the Fromsoftware other titles. Despite this, Elden Ring director and Fromsoftware president Hidetaka Miyazaki doesn't really believe that the studio was the first to invent the game design, since in most seen in most Souls-like. In an interview with Game Informer, thanks to Game Radar, Miyazaki says that he doesn't necessarily think it is a new invention that Fromsoftware came up with, but something that gamers had an appetite for that the studio provided. Fromsoftware didn't invent Souls-like, says Elden Ring director. Says here, I know we've been credited, but in terms of game design, this idea of having death and learning as a part of the core game cycle is something that the gaming audience was perhaps ready for, says Miyazaki, but there just wasn't the perfect answer for that appetite just yet. What we discovered it is okay. It is okay, which I was right. It is okay to make games with death as a part of its core gameplay loop, and our answer our answer happens to land and resonate with various audience. I don't necessarily think it is a new invention per se. It was more the Fromsoftware DNA and our game design overlap with what was perhaps missing from the market. He kind of has a point. If you think about it, most element of Fromsoftware games were lifted from older titles, such as retracting your step after dying, Metroidvania SKU level designs, and learning boss patterns to progress past a tough foe, but I can't really recall anything that combined them to come up with the Soul-like formula we have today until Demon Soul came along. Well, Demon Soul wasn't the first one, but I'll get into that in a minute. Says, sure, you have the likes of the King's Field, yeah, and Blade of Darkness, often cited as a Soul-like before Souls-like were a thing, but Fromsoftware definitely popularized the design enough to make it a full-blown term. It's probably a case of Miyazaki being humble because of its Fromsoftware. Because if Fromsoftware never existed, it's highly likely that the term Souls-like wouldn't either. And then that is that. All right. So this article is like, it's like saying, okay, it's like would give a good reference to Rocksteady for what they did to the Batman Arkham franchise. Sure, there were many Batman games before even Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Origins, Blackgate, Arkham Knight showed up. There were plenty games before those games that I just mentioned showed up. Plenty Batman games. So Fromsoftware is in the same field. Of course, the article talks about here about let's see, what it say, Blades of Darkness and King's Field. True, but there were games before that gave future developers ideas on what genre of games to make next. For instance, games like Golden Axe could have been a Souls game. Yeah. Golden Axe on the Sega Genesis. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want to go there? Yeah, I know my gaming. Games like Golden Axe could have been a Souls game. If you take Golden Axe and put it in an open world form like Dark Soul, like Elden Rings, Golden Axe could have been a Souls game. Yeah. What about what's another good one here? What about Magic Sword from Capcom? Yeah, you could take that game. That game could have been a Souls game. What about what's that? Knights of the Round. That if you took that game and put that game in an open world format, that game could have been a Souls game too. What about King of the Dragon? That also could have been a Souls game. What about Dungeons and Dragons, Shadows of Tower of Doom and Shadows of Mysteria? Those games could have been a Souls game too, if you put it in an open world, in an Elden Ring open world format. Just saying. I could keep going down the list. Yeah. What about even Magician Lord on the Neo Geo? Yeah, that could have been a Souls game too. What about Guardian Heroes on the Sega Saturn? That could have been a Souls game too. So each one of these games were stepping stones. Each one of these games were stepping stones to that led up to like King's Field. And what's the other one? What's the other one here? See the other one here. See if I can get it here. See if I can put it. Whoops! Come back here. What it says? Blades of Darkness, King's Field, and Blades of Darkness. Blades of Darkness. That could have. I mean, those games. Each one of those games were stepping stones that led up to King's Field, and then another director. Each director that created these games paved the way for the next director to take those type of games and make it Souls-like. Okay, games like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 1 and 2. Those games could have been a Souls game too. If you put that if you take Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 1 and 2 and put that in an Elden Ring format and put it open world, there go your Souls game right there. So each one of those games and the director behind them gave the next directors the idea of creating games like, gave Miyazaki the idea of like creating, say, Dark Souls, was it 1 and 2, and of course Elden Rings. Yeah. Or even get this, even the Legend of Zelda could have been a Souls game too. Yeah. Yeah. Zelda could have been a Souls game too. Yeah, I know my gaming. I'm just sitting here messing with y'all. I just sit here and give you the idea like I don't know what I'm saying. Zelda could have been a Souls game too. If you take the Legend of Zelda, any Zelda game, even Breath of the Wild, and put that in an Elden Ring format, that's your Souls game right there. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah. So Miyazaki got the depth and the vision that Miyazaki got for Elden Rings came from all those games. Each director behind all those games gave Miyazaki the idea, like, okay, this is the next type of genre in video games. Just saying. Yeah, I'm a gamer. I can't help myself. Anyway, So yeah, So Elden Rings got ideas from all those games that I mentioned, and more. Even Elder Scrolls, that played a role played a role in Elden Rings. Even Elder Scrolls. All those games, man, gave Miyazaki the vision and the idea to come up with a concept for Elden Rings. And then you got to look at the times when those games came out and the consoles that they were on. And the consoles that they were on, and the power and the limitation that they had. That's how Elden Rings came into existence. Just saying. So yeah, but each game director is driven by something, like the creators of look at Rocksteady and WB Games with DC Universe. What's that? Batman Arkham Origins and Gotham Knights, and then Rocksteady with Arkham Asylum City. I think Black Gate, yeah, and Arkham Knight. They all got they all got it was time for when they created those games. There were Batman games that was leading up to that, so those Batman games that you played before Arkham Asylum and all that, you got to look at the time and the development process and the console and what the console can handle, how big the environments could be. So when it came up to the 360, PS3, and of course Wii U, the Batman Arkham's came into play. A director with a new studio with a different vision and direction for what a Batman game should be like came in and delivered just that. So it's the same with Miyazaki and Fromsoftware. There were plenty of games that led up to Dark Souls and all that. So all those Soul games, they played a role. Even Dungeons and Dragons could have been a Souls game. Yeah, even World of Warcraft could have been a Souls game. So each one of those, the wind blowing the door there. So each one of those games, Miyazaki probably saw all these games, and yeah, it put him in a direction to create Dark Souls and Elden Rings. Oh yeah. So most of these games that are being made, that are made now, developers got the idea from previous games, by playing through the games and studying the how to create story, how to create levels, how to create mechanics, seeing what each game brings to the table before they create the actual product. Just saying. So that's what happened with Miyazaki and Elden Rings. Yeah. And he played plenty of games, plenty of games that dealt with the Souls games are from the plenty of hack and slash games that plenty of hack and slash games led up to the Souls game genre. Oh yeah. So yeah, each director get their idea from somewhere. Each director that create video games get their ideas from previous games, by studying the story, the characters, the level designs, the gameplay, the mechanics, interaction and all that. So they used all that now to create games like Elden Rings. It's the same with Rocksteady and Batman. There were plenty of Batman games that came out way before Arkham Asylum even showed up. And it was only a matter of time before a studio decided to go in the direction that they were going. Okay, so it's like they were, you've seen all the Batman games that were 2D and side-scrolling, but you never had a open world 3D, full 3D environment Batman game until it started with Arkham Asylum. So yeah, so that's how the gaming industry works, So the games of the past were like stepping stones. They were like building blocks, stepping stone building blocks. They were path that led up to the games of today. So when you see gamers talking about modern gaming, modern game is boring, and modern gaming, they say modern gaming sucks and all this. These people don't play video games. They don't study video games. Elden Ring didn't just show up. There were plenty of games before Elden Ring and Dark Souls got developed. Plenty of games that dealt with dungeons and fighting different bosses. Yeah, Zelda could have been a Souls game. Could have been a Souls game, and not only that, Zelda is an open world. Zelda is a open world game. It wasn't Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild expanded on the open world aspect, but Ocarina of Time was the really started for Zelda. It really started that open worldness for Zelda games. So yeah, so each one of those games were a stepping stone before Breath of the Wild even showed up. So it's the same with Elden Rings. I mean, look at the Spider-Man games that Insomniac made. I mean, but the Spider-Man games before the Spider-Man on PS4, the games that Activision Blizzard published, those games were good, but those games were good. They were good for their time, and they're still good, but they were stepping stones before Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 showed up. Before another studio took up the mantle and said, okay, this is how Spider-Man needs to be. And so because there's plenty of Spider-Man games that came way before, Spider-Man on the PS4 and Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5, and of course on the Steam Deck and that's on PC. Yeah, so there were plenty of So those games were stepping stones, building blocks, and you got to look at the time when those games came out and the power of those consoles and arcade machines and the limitations and where developers were at the time in the process of making those games, and where video games was. So today's games are not I've seen I've seen YouTubers say things about today's games, and when you see that, you realize that they really didn't invest the time or put the time into playing. Invest the time or put the time into playing those games and studying the patterns of games and what lead up to today's games. So today's games are not boring by any means. It's not. This is where they were headed. So with Miyazaki now, he had a lot of games before Elden Rings. Even I showed up before Elden Rings, or even before Dark Souls showed up. There were plenty of games way before that paved the way for Elden Ring. It doesn't mean that those genres of games, that their style of gameplay is dead. No, it's not. You can put them in an open world format any day. It's just that the Souls game brought something new to the table. Yeah, where you got to use skills. You got to study your opponent. You got to study strength and weaknesses of your opponent. Study the like the bosses and the people that you go up against in Elden Rings. You know, their strength and their weakness. Doesn't mean that those games are doesn't mean that those games are boring, man. It's just this Elden Ring is on a different level when it comes to like gameplay, because you got to use knowledge, wisdom, understanding of those type of games. You know, that's how you beat it. You know, those games ain't no walk in the park. You know, so yeah, and the people and the bosses that you fight don't come with the same attacks all the time. They mix it up on you, so you the player now, you have to like come up with a strategy like, okay, and study weakness and vulnerabilities and all that just to get through that game. So yeah, so Miyazaki, man, he nailed it with Elden Rings, and they got Elden Ring, Shadows of the Erd Tree, and Night Rain now. So yeah, plus I think they're getting a new expansion too coming. So yeah, the Elden open world games are not dead, man. You just gotta you gotta use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of video games to get through them. You know, it challenges your mind. You know, like, okay, like how how are you gonna complete the game? So yeah, and take it from there. Oh yeah. Study spacing, distance, range, like a recovery. You got to study what's that, recovery? Like, okay, if a boss do a certain move, like, okay, what's the recovery speed? Like, okay, what's the recovery speed before you can attack him? How fast does he recover? How many attacks does he comes with? 1, 2, or 3, or even 4, or even 5? Just saying. So, and that's all you're doing is figuring out, okay, how fast how fast can you get to him before he recovers? Oh yeah, all that plays a role, man. So open world games are not dead, man. They're good. you gamers just gotta step your game up. You just gotta step your game up. Yeah, you know, all that crying and complaining you doing ain't gonna help, man. Yeah, the boss is just sitting there looking at you like, okay, well, you say you a gamer, prove it. So, yeah, but Miyazaki played a lot of games, man. You know, learned from a lot of directors. You know, probably watch animation, cartoons, and all that to came up with the idea for Elden Rings. You know, so, and movies too. So yeah, Elden Rings is no joke, man. So you got a lot of study. You gamers got a lot of homework to do. Yeah, you got to study strength and weaknesses. Yeah, Elden Ring is not no button mashing. Oh no, you got to study your opponent. Like, okay, how many attacks is he coming with? What's the range? What's the distance? What's the speed? How many attacks does he come with? How fast does he recover from each attacks? He or she. See, I'm giving you guys clues on how to play this game. So stop crying. Anyway, man. So yeah, but yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. Elden games like Elden Rings, man. Timing is everything, man. Timing is everything. Like, okay, like speed and time, and like, yeah, keep your defense up too. You know, like if a boss doesn't attack now. When he does it at you and you block it, how far does he push you back before you can recover? I'm just saying, all that plays a role into Elden Rings. You want to learn how to beat that boss? I'm giving you clues here. So yeah, you have to figure out, like, okay, what's the recovery speed? Yeah, like if he doesn't attack and you block it, and you roll, like, okay, how fast does he recover? How fast do you recover off that roll before you can get to him? So you can get to him before he does another attack. You got to study range and distance, all of that in Elden Rings, man. So yeah, but back to Miyazaki though. He got his idea from a lot of games and probably movies, cartoons, probably even comic books. All that played a role in it. So now we have Elden Rings. Yeah, but those Zelda type games, they're not dead. Games like World of Warcraft, no. Games like Baldur's Gate, no. They're not dead, man. Elden Ring just took gaming to a new height. So yeah, and each one of those games that I mentioned, man, bring their own challenges and challenges to the table that you gamers got to figure out. Yeah. So yeah. Most people that be crying about most people that play video games don't study none of the stuff I mentioned. Don't study strength. Don't study weakness. They don't study strength, weaknesses, range, distance. How fast is the attack? How slow is the attack? How much power does it take? What's the recovery speed? How does it? When the boss does it to you, how far does he push you back before you can even recover to do something or come up with a plan to get to him? So all that plays a role into video games, man. Yeah. Like my friend told me, like, Chris, you persistent. When it comes to these games, I'm like, yeah, I can't help myself. So yeah, that's the challenges that these games bring to you, man. When it comes to Elden Rings, when it comes to when it comes to Elden Rings and games like Zelda and games like World of Warcraft and games like Skyrim and Dark Souls and all those games you think of, man, that deals with these type of these genres, man. That's what they bring to the table. They challenge your thinking ability and your problem solving skills. I'm just saying, but anyway. But yeah, man. But Miyazaki is good. He's good, man. Elden Ring that's what Elden Ring brought to the table, for as gameplay. And most people that are complaining about video games and today's video games, they want everything easy for them. They want every game to be easy. They don't like challenges, They don't like to figure out stuff. They don't like to try to figure out stuff like that. So yeah. And they can't stand losing either, So yeah. But other than that, man, yeah. Elden Rings, there were games that paved the way, for that type of genre to come out. I mean, from Dark Souls 1 and 2, to Elden Ring 8, or even Dark Souls 3. There were games that paved the way for those games to come into existence. So yeah. But the games that I mentioned, all of them, they could have been a Souls game. The question was, okay, the question was the real question when those games came up, and the question was like, okay, which studio is gonna come up and take on that challenge and bring out this type of genre and gameplay to video games. And Fromsoftware took up the responsibility. It doesn't mean that, like, say, Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna it doesn't mean that like, say, who is that, Bethesda is gonna stop making Elder Scrolls. No, we just got a new genre in video games, Souls-like. Elder Scrolls is still being made. So yeah, we just got another layer of video games to deal with, Souls-like. Yeah. And as far as death goes in video games, well, in every one of those games you play, you die. So it's nothing new. Death in video games is nothing new. You're gonna die. You're gonna die, man. So yeah, it's a part of video games, man. You get to start over and then try again. Yeah. And change your patterns and change your strategies, so to speak, in video games. Anywho, but that's my thoughts on the whole thing, on this whole article. This article was over at, I think, The Gamer. I think, let's see if I can get it here. This article here was, let's see if I can get it. Whoops, where is it? Hey, where are you? It was on the gamers website. So yeah, that's why I saw it and I was like, okay, let me give it a go. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.